Alrighty, so what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Bulls podcast. My name is Corey. First and foremost, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. This is my third attempt at making this video. First time, my phone kept falling off the holster. Second time, I reached my video maximum limit as far as memory. So let's see if third time is the charm. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. So let's get straight into it. So, unfortunately, the Chicago Bulls, 11 straight losses right now. 11 straight. So it's not looking good for the Chicago Bulls team. And, I was at work earlier and I was just thinking, of course, we still have Matas Buzelis and we have Josh Giddey also. But I don't really view Matas Buzelis and Josh Giddey as being locks to build around in the future, especially if we get a top 2 pick in this upcoming 2026 NBA draft. If we get a top 2 pick, it might be a wrap for them. I mean, you see how they just traded like 7, 8 players, contributors at that. And it's not like they were just some scrubs or just whatever, but, solid players. Vooch, Kobe, Dosunmu, Kevin Huerter, Javon Carter, solid players. So I wouldn't put it past the Bulls and this front office. If they get a top 2 pick in this upcoming NBA draft, I think that they're going to start looking at Matas Buzelis and Josh Giddey as pieces that they can move, and they're going to build around that either that number 1 or number 2 pick. They're going to build around him. I think the tank is going to continue for like another 1 or 2 years after now. So basically like 2 or 3 years, full tank mode. And I think that's the route that this Bulls team is going. And I know that sounds bad, and maybe you guys agree with that, or you don't agree with that. That's fine. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. So, 11 straight losses by the Bulls, longest losing streak since the 1999-2000 season. So that's going all the way back to the Tim Floyd era, and y'all know how bad those days was. So man, things are looking bad. But on the bright side of things, on a positive note, I like how Matas Buzelis, I think it was this last game that we just lost, and the reporter came up to him and asked him, like, hey, what do you think about the team possibly tanking? I'm paraphrasing. What do you think about the state of this Chicago Bulls team in regards to possibly tanking, losing games, putting you guys in a position where more than likely you're going to end up with a higher draft pick? And he straight up said, I'm paraphrasing Matas Buzelis, he straight up said, like, hey, first of all, I don't subscribe to the idea of tanking, which I rock with that. I really respect that. And then Matas Buzelis also said that he doesn't believe that any of his teammates really subscribe to that either. He believes that they all go out there and they try their hardest to win games. It's not like they're out there giving a halfway effort or losing games on purpose or something like that. So I really respect that. That's all you can ask for. Just some rough times for this Chicago Bulls team. And I think that this, based off what we can see right now, I think that the Bulls really, the front office, ownership, I think that they really have an aggressive approach with this rebuild right here, because this has already gotten ugly. 11 straight losses. I mean, we haven't won a game since we started making the trades. So this is ugly, and I think the Bulls are really willing to just go into super duper, just total rebuild mode here. And for some odd reason, they're not saying that. They're choosing to say, okay, we're going to retool. We're just going to switch out some players here and there and stuff like that. And it's like, nah, this is a full-on rebuild. And I think it's disrespectful to the consumer, to the fans, to the people who are rooting for the Chicago Bulls team, who have rooted for the Chicago Bulls for years. Hey, just say what you're doing. If you're totally rebuilding the team, hey, just say that, But things are looking ugly for the Chicago Bulls team right now. Man, oh man. And in my opinion, let me know what you guys think about what I'm about to say. In my opinion, if this If this Chicago Bulls team, if we don't end up with a top 2 pick in this upcoming 2026 NBA draft, this whole season is a disaster. The entire season. And I know I said in a couple of my previous videos that we got to end up with at least a top 3 or a top 5 pick. Nah, with the way this is going, with how up and down this season has been, I mean, for this to all to be worth it, or at least to kind of think of it that way. For all this tanking, all these trades, all this up and down, all this uncertainty, all of this not having a star player, not having a go-to player, to make all of this worth it, in my mindset, let me know what you guys think in the comments. To make all of this worth it, we have to end up with a top 2 pick in this draft. Not top 3, not top 4, not top 5, top 2. We need that number 1 pick, especially that number 1, or that number 2, preferably the number 1, of course. So if that can happen, which you can't force it to happen, of course, which this just totally makes it this. It doesn't make any sense by the Bulls, because the Bulls are acting as if they can control it somehow. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna lose all these games. We're gonna get a top 2 pick. It seems like that's how the Bulls are thinking. Anyway, but if we get a top 2 pick, I think that would really help. You know, and as I said in one of my videos about, tanking with the NBA, I don't subscribe to tanking either, losing games on purpose and things like that. I'm a big advocate for, just go out there and try your hardest, give it your best shot. Don't give a halfway effort. Go out there and give it 100% every night, and that's from the players and the coaches, the front office, the owner, from everybody involved with the team. Just give it 100%, and if you lose a lot of games in the midst of giving it your all, then hey, it is what it is. Because us as fans, as consumers of the NBA, the Chicago Bulls, all we're gonna do is look at you like, okay, all right, it kind of sucks that we're losing all these games. Like, man, okay, I wish we can win more games, but at least you can say, okay, I can respect this. All right, they out there giving it their best shot. Okay, all right, but we losing a lot of games. You can respect that, and you can look at it like, okay, we losing all these games, but at least we'll end up with a top draft pick in the draft. Rather than looking at your team like, hey, like with this current Chicago Bulls team, which is obviously it's just been an up and down season. We start the season 5-0. We had some ups and downs in between that. Solid season. We lost a lot of games to teams that we should have beat, which really sucked. And we went from all of that to now we basically just rock bottom now. We're not the worst team in the league in regards to the standings, but it's just it's hard to rock with this team when you see that this is how we're playing. And I'm not even gonna blame it on the players. I'm not gonna blame it on Buzelis or Josh Giddey. I look at this like this is the ownership. Maybe it's not even ownership. I don't know, but it's either ownership or management. Mark Eversley or Karnachovis. I think it starts there with this situation, at least. I don't think this has anything to do with the players. This is all on the front office here, because they chose to make all of these moves. They chose to make all of the trades. They chose to not come out and straight up say, okay, hey, we're rebuilding. We're just gonna start over from scratch and rebuild through the draft. That would be the easy thing to say, right? Rather than the beating around the bush and sugarcoating things and making up words and stuff like that, And maybe they're not trying to do it. I don't know. Like I always say, all I know is what I see on the surface. YouTube videos, internet articles, and things like that. I always like to give that disclaimer. But this is looking really bad for the Chicago Bulls team. It really is. just such a crazy season for this Chicago Bulls team, man. It really sucks. I think it really sucks for Buzelis. I think that he's surprised at all the moves that the Bulls made. I think it sucks for Josh Giddey. I mean, if you go way to the bottom of my videos here, where I'm posting from last summer, and I'm talking about how the Bulls should re-sign Josh Giddey. He's a great player to build around. He's a great point guard for this Chicago Bulls team. Like, you know, I would assume that when the Bulls signed him, he was under the impression, okay, all right, the Bulls are kind of solid. You know, they need some work. They still need that go-to player. They still need that superstar player. They still need that person that's going to step up and be the leader of the team. But I can work with this. I can build around this. All right, we got Giddey. We got myself. We got Josh Giddey. We got Mattis Buzelis. We got Kobe White. We've got Dosunmu. We got Vooch. You know, so on and so forth. I would believe that that's what brought him. You know, that's what influenced him to re-sign with the Bulls. All of that is gone now. So who's to say, you know, Josh Giddey, you know, who's to say, you know, he might demand a trade in the future? You know, like, does he want to put up with just a total rebuild? You know, only winning 20 games a season and things like that. You know, I know I would feel bamboozled. You know, like, oh man, they done tricked me, man. They had me coming here thinking that we building for the future. Now, not even a year later, everything is just up in the air. Everything is just uncertain. 7 or 8 players are traded. I mean, yeah, you're gonna get. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Josh Giddey is making a lot of money and things like that. But like I say, I would assume that part of him signing with the Bulls was that he was under the impression that the Bulls are gonna. He's one of the players that the Bulls are gonna be building around, and that the Bulls are trying to make the playoffs, go deep into the playoffs, and then eventually the goal is a championship. You know, I would assume that was his mindset. But I mean, I think if he had to do it all over again, like say this was his free agent year, like it was last year, Josh Giddey, I can't see him re-signing with this team if he was a free agent. I really couldn't. You know, so just a big mess for the Chicago Bulls right now. Really is. Let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comments here. Thank you guys for subscribing. Shout outs to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate all of you guys. And look at that, my phone is staying on the thing this time. It's staying on the holster. It hasn't fallen down. I haven't ran out of memory yet. So we're doing good, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. So we'll see with this team, man. We'll see. You know, and then the weird thing is, this is where it would get really weird at. This has just been such a weird season for the Chicago Bulls team. You know, it would be a really weird twist to all of this. Okay, so obviously the Bulls, you know, they're only a couple games out of the play-in. So let's just say the Bulls, you know, they come together. They build more chemistry. They hit a couple of winning streaks, you know, 5-game winning streak, 4-game winning streak, 3-game winning streak here and there for the rest of the season. They're not that far out of the play-in. I think it's like 2 or 3. I think we're like 2 or 3, maybe 4 games out. Wouldn't it be something if the Bulls just all of a sudden just clicked, went on these little mini winning streaks here and there, and made the play-in tournament, and lessened their chances for a top pick in the NBA draft? That would be so crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for winning. I'm all for playing hard. I hope that they do that, because I'm all for winning. You know, I never look at the team like, oh man, let's lose these games on purpose or whatever. But now, if you out there giving it your all, like I said, if you out there giving it your all, you playing 100%, and you just losing a bunch of games, and it's like, okay, then that is gonna be my mindset. Like, okay, well, at least we'll be getting the top draft pick. All right, you know, or we'll raise our chances. And I've been saying this since I had this channel. I haven't even had this channel for a year yet. But if you go back and look at some of my first videos, especially when I'm previewing the Chicago Bulls season, that was one of the key things that I was mentioning. Like, okay, even if this team, because I was thinking that the Bulls, okay, we're gonna. I think at the bottom end, I say like 37 wins, 38, somewhere around there. You know, and the most wins like 45, maybe 50. That was my prediction, back then. If you want to go back and look at those videos, but anyway, I also said in those videos, also like, hey, as long as we're giving it our best shot, we're going out there playing, a full 48 minutes, like Norm Van Leer used to say. Play the full 48 minutes of intensity. Give it 100% effort. I mean, if we lose a lot of games and we don't end up making it even to the play-in, I mean, that's respectful. I can still rock with the team, but it's like, okay, we losing a lot of games, but at least they're out there giving it their all, though. But also, okay, if you lose a lot of games, you'll get a high draft pick, right? So that was my mindset even back then. But now with this is a total different ball game right here. This is, I couldn't see this coming. No, I don't think. Well, I'm pretty sure nobody can see this coming. And really, what the Bulls are doing right now, and I've heard other people say this, and I didn't agree with them at first. Because I started hearing this, what I'm about to say. I started hearing this. I want to say almost 5 years ago. This is when Zach LaVine was still here. This was probably, yeah, I think probably around like the 2020 NBA All-Star game. And a lot of people were saying like, hey, Bulls might want to trade Zach LaVine. I don't know about a max contract. I think that's when he was like getting close to the max contract or whatever. He's about to be a free agent or something like that. And I didn't agree with people because I always view Zach LaVine. Okay, man, he's a solid player. Maybe he does deserve max money. But even a lot of people back then in 2020, 2021 were saying, okay, Bulls need to move off of Zach LaVine. So I do think that the Bulls started this complete rebuild way too late. They should have started, like in 2019, maybe even sooner than that, maybe 2018. So this is just when did Mark Eversley and them come into the, let me see, how long have they been here? I forget. But anyway, the Bulls should have started this full rebuild. And I didn't agree with it at first, but they should have started this like in 2020. Because now they're in a position now where they're just making all these trades. Very confusing roster. 11-game losing streak. And it's like, we could have been there, done that, 5 years ago. And we could have been a team like OKC or something. A lot of talent from the draft. We're contending, or at least we're a solid playoff team, but it's just not the case with this Bulls team. So obviously not the players' fault, at least not in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about that. I know it's the players who go out there and play the game. But this is intentionally orchestrated. And maybe they weren't intentional in the Bulls losing games. I don't know. Like I keep saying, I like to always give that disclaimer. All I know is what I see on the surface, on YouTube, on the internet, on TV, and things like that. Maybe the Bulls front office intention was, okay, we really think that these trades are going to truly help this team. Maybe that was the case. I mean, it doesn't really seem like that. It seems like the intention was, we want to lose as many games as possible to up our odds of getting a top draft pick. So that's just my take on that. I just came up here to the gym, about to get this workout in real quick. Cardio day for me. So about to hop on this treadmill and the Stairmaster. I know, off topic, but that's what I'm about to do though. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk Bulls podcast. My name is Corey. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, please. I believe I'm at 45 or 46 subscribers right now. I appreciate every single last one of you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for commenting. Thank you guys for watching the videos. I know the videos, they don't get a lot of views and things like that, but that's cool. I know the channel is going to grow. Eventually, it'll be more views and things like that. Feel free to share the channel with your family, friends, co-workers, neighbors, all of that good stuff. So thank you guys for rocking with me. It's been a rough one. To be honest with you, I mean, I haven't been really excited to make these videos with just the way the season has been. It's just been a crazy season, especially with these trades. the Bulls having an up and down season, not having that true leadership and things like that. So, but thank you guys for rocking with me. I'm trying to be consistent. So stay tuned for more videos like this. Peace out. Have a good weekend. Go Bulls. See red. Let's end this 11-game losing streak.